I challenge you to a duel. It's the only argument I need.
I don't want to talk to you no more, you.
You got a lot of nerve.
Soon you will know what it's like to be defeated.
Stop defending him, Sean! All right, let's go.
Hey, sleepers, welcome back to the Sleeper Wire Great Debate Show. This is the Waiver Wire Great Debate for Week 7. I am your host, Professor Chris, and with me today, once again, back for the second time, I got Ryan. What's going on, man?
How's it going? Need to redeem myself after that last one. I got a better mic, too.
Who was it? Was that Allen Robinson and Golden Tate?
Yep,
that was a good one over the summer over who to draft.
Yeah,
that was
it was.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, this show is called The Great Debate because that's exactly what we're going to be doing here is just debating these two guys. This is not an argument. We're going to get 2.5 minutes to argue for our player. We get 90 seconds for a rebuttal, and then we have final thoughts, and that is it. There's no winner and no loser. It's just unbiased, objective, and stats-based arguments for and against these two players. So we're taking all of those gut feelings that we've got, and we're throwing them out the window, digging into some numbers here. Today, got a couple wide receivers that have been putting up some good numbers. We have Taylor Gabriel and Chris Godwin. I've got Taylor Gabriel and Ryan's got Godwin, and I'm going to go ahead and kick it off here. All right, so Taylor Gabriel, the 5'8" speedster for the Chicago Bears, is easily having the best season of his career. Through 5 games, he has 27 catches for 303 yards and 2 touchdowns. In just 5 games, he's almost matched his stats for all of 2016, where he had 33 catches for 378 and 1. Now that he has his chance to be the number 2 in an offense, he's showing himself to be a real value for Mitch Trubisky and the whole Chicago Bears offense. He's already got 5 20-plus yard plays on the season, which exceeds all of his 2016 season, and 2 40-plus yard plays, which equals his 2016 season. He is the true vertical threat for the Chicago Bears, and he absolutely should be. This guy runs a 4.27 40-yard dash. He's on the list of the top 10 fastest NFL players. He can blow by anyone. There is a reason that his nickname is Turbo. He's also shown that he has great hands this season. This is something I did not expect. Out of all wide receivers with at least 30 targets on the season, Taylor Gabriel's 79.4% catch percentage is second only to Michael Thomas's ridiculous 93.9% catch percentage. Yeah, that's insane, by the way. 49 targets for him and 46 catches. That's crazy. Gabriel has 27 receptions on 34 targets. This is a reliable wide receiver for Trubisky, and he's quickly gaining his trust. In the last 2 games, Gabriel has received 12 targets, and he's caught all 12 of them. He's been over 100 receiving yards for the last 2 games as well. He's got a decent schedule coming up. He's got New England in week 7, then the Jets, Bills, and Lions. The Lions do have Darius Slay, but I gotta imagine that he's going to be covering Allen Robinson. This coming week, week 7, has some big names wide receivers who are on a bye. The Packers, Raiders, Steelers, and Seahawks all have the week off. That's Devontae Adams, Geronimo Allison, if you were playing him, Amari Cooper, Jordy Nelson, who's become playable, Antonio Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, Doug Baldwin, Tyler Lockett. All guys who are regularly being put into starting fantasy rosters. And Taylor Gabriel now has an opportunity to get into that spot as well. As I mentioned before, the Bears are facing the Patriots this week. Like it or not, Trubisky is going to have to throw. That's just what tends to happen to teams. In order to beat the Patriots, they have to throw the ball. Belichick's game plan is to...
Both these guys are big play guys. Gabriel has been on 3 teams in his 5-year career. Didn't break out in Cleveland, didn't really break out in Atlanta. He plays the zebra position in Coach Nagy's offense, the same role that turned Tyreek Hill into the star he is. We all know that he is not Tyreek Hill. Even if he's the best receiver on the Bears, it's only a matter of time before he starts to draw more coverage. He's never had more than 621 yards in a season, which was his rookie season, which was kind of a little while ago now. So we haven't seen how he'll respond to getting more attention from better cornerbacks, which is going to happen. And he's also using Cohen the same way he used Hill, so he's kind of using both of them right now, which he didn't have in KC. So You have to assume Burton and Robinson's usage goes up because it just hasn't been much, and they're also really good players, and maybe he's just trying to figure out how to use them. Allen Robinson leads in receiving targets, and there's no reason for that change. The numbers are almost neck and neck for them, but I think we all know who's more talented. Can't forget about Anthony Miller, who came back this last game. He'll eat into Taylor's time once Nagy figures out how to use him. He will also get bombs thrown his way, and Trubisky's kind of hit or miss just for both of them. Like I said, he's...
All right, let's move over to Chris Godwin. Ryan, kick it off.
All right, Chris Godwin shouldn't even be on your wire, especially in week 6. He was getting drafted in a lot of my leagues. I drafted him. He's tied for second in receiving targets for the Bucs with 31. Through 6 games, he leads the team with 4 touchdowns. Should be more. He has 13 more red zone targets than the next Bucs receiver. Besides being the wideout they trust most in the end zone, he has the most potential for the big play. Last season, in his rookie year, we saw him take the ball 70 yards on a short pass from Winston. I don't know if you remember that. He's had a big play almost every game. He's drafted in the 3rd round by the Bucs out of Penn State, where he was a big playmaker. He had a few plays over 70 yards and 11 touchdowns in his final season. No one besides maybe Brandon Cooks has 2 top 20 wide receivers and 2 really good tight ends pulling coverage away from him like this. And this is all without a running game or consistent quarterback play. This past Sunday, Winston targeted 9 different pass catchers, but Godwin did the most damage in the air with the most receptions. Bucs are somehow possibly the most hottest, like the hottest passing attack in the league right now, which is kind of weird to say. A true breakout candidate like this is rare to find in week 6. He's had, we've seen him. He's had a few fumbles and drops that could have been touchdowns, and that just shows you he probably hasn't reached his ceiling yet. He's a sophomore. Maybe we haven't seen him put all together yet. With the drops, without the drops, he should have 7 touchdowns, which is more than any receiver in the NFL. The running backs had their best performance on Sunday, so that should only help open up the passing game. Thanks to Evans, Howard, and Deshaun Jackson, he will almost never see the number 1 cornerback. He will often draw the number 3rd, which he's going to burn every time. Some people might be worried about Humphreys, but he has his own role as the return guy. They share 3rd receiver duties, but they're not used the same way. Right now, Godwin's getting 27% of the targets, and his production suggests he deserves more. Tampa Bay will face some tough defenses here down the stretch, but like I said before, Godwin isn't who teams game plan against, so most of the time he's going to be open.
Okay, so Chris Godwin, his stats certainly aren't as good in comparison to Taylor Gabriel so far this season. 21 versus 27 for catches, 249 versus 303 yards. He's a touchdown-dependent wide receiver. He's got 4 through the first 5 games, which is great, but Godwin isn't going to catch 13 touchdowns this season like his pace is. That pace is super unlikely for a team's wide receiver 2 or 3. The Buccaneers played the Falcons this past week, and Jameis Winston was forced to throw the ball a lot. Granted, he threw it well. I'll give him that. He did target Chris Godwin 9 times also. But you also have to keep in mind that Chris Godwin only got 2 targets back in week 4 against the Bears when the Bucs were getting absolutely crushed. They needed to throw all game, and Godwin only got 2 combined targets between Jameis and Fitzpatrick. He hasn't had more than 74 catches in a given game this season. He's kind of like a Marvin Jones. You're hoping that he gets a touchdown. He's got a tough matchups coming up. Cleveland, at Cincinnati, at Carolina. He's also 44% owned, so there's a better chance that Gabriel's going to be available. Godwin's 4 touchdowns are going to excite fantasy owners quite a bit, especially since he's caught 4 of the first 5 weeks of the season. But of the 2 guys, Gabriel is going to be cheaper. Let people spend more of their fab on Godwin and take a better flyer on Gabriel. Alright, so getting back to Taylor Gabriel here. Belichick's game plan is to take the opposing team's best player out of the game and force you to beat the Patriots in other ways. You can easily argue that the Bears' best players are Allen Robinson and Jordan Howard, and some might even say Tariq Cohen is their best overall weapon, but that's a debate for another time. We're not going to get into that here. Taylor Gabriel is someone that you can pick up this week at only 22% owned and plug into your starting lineup if you've got a receiver or two on a bye this week. Obviously, there's no guarantee that he's going to get you 100 yards again. And there's no guarantee that any waiver wire wide receiver is going to get you 100 plus yards or get you a touchdown. But Taylor Gabriel is definitely seeing targets and he's catching almost all of them. You can certainly find worse options at wide receiver this week out there on waivers.
In PPR, Godwin's only scored less than 13 points once. And like you referred to, that was when they ran out of Fitzmagic against the Bears' top defense. And that could be the best defense they face this whole season. He's had more production than guys like Fitzgerald, Allen Robinson, and Randall Cobb. And I don't see that going away anytime soon. He's already had his bye week too, which is, I think they both actually had their bye week. Dirk Cutter trusts Godwin even after his mistakes. We've seen him convert a 3rd and 18. We've seen him have a walk-off touchdown. This weekend he hauled in a few badly thrown balls that should have been interceptions. There was also a couple thrown right behind him, so I think they still have some work to do with their routes. The defensive struggles will continue, which should only give Godwin and the offense more opportunities. I think they fired their coordinator today. He's a sophomore. I think a lot of people don't even realize he didn't even start until last November. And he's behind a loaded receiving group with an offense on the rise, and he's still making a huge impact. So clearly that entire offense has room to improve. Even with all those amazing weapons, Godwin is the go-to guy right now in the end zone, and that's what you want in fantasy. He's been good in almost every game except that meltdown since he started in the league, and he's still young, so he's got improvement. There was also no one covering him, Gabriel, as last week. In that big game, the big game that Gabriel had. So I wouldn't get too excited about that. But yeah, he's very consistent, and like I said, I'm surprised that he's there. I would definitely choose him over Gabriel.
And that is going to wrap it up for this week's Sleeper Wire Great Debate. Please follow us on Twitter at Sleeper Wire Show. I am on there at Prof_Chris SW. You can find Ryan there at Jabba SW. You can find us both on the Sleeper app as well, Professor Chris and Jabba SW. And then on the Fantasy Life app as well at Professor Chris and Jabba SW there. Ryan, thanks for joining me for this week's Great Debate. Everybody else, thanks for listening. We'll catch you guys next week.